instructor, Kyoshi Senese. You can do a little quick intro as well. That would be appreciated.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. So my name is Gerard Senese. I started training in 1974 with Albert Giraldi down in his basement. He had classes once a week for 2-3 hours down in his basement. And that's where I began. I met Taika in 1978 when I went out to Kansas. And met Greg for the first time out there to get my Shodan. So I've been training from 1974 up to this present day in the art that Taika was teaching here in America. I also do Kendo. I've been doing Kendo since 1995. That's when I built the dojo that I'm in now. My students and my wife and I built this dojo. It used to be an old pool hall. So, what? Are you saying something?
Oh, no, sorry, just ignore me.
All right.
I'm just saying, get your Joe ready.
All right, yeah. So we're going to be doing actual drill so that you guys can probably possibly share this with your students when you're in the dojo teaching, or if you're just training yourself, you can do this by yourself. In the Joe katas, it's usually right hand dominant. So in my drills, I try to always balance the techniques from the right and the left. So get your Joe. If you don't have a Joe, you can use a Tombo. Okay, so if you don't have a big enough ceiling, you can use the Tombo. Just for the purposes of the grips and the hand changes. Now, everybody that works the Joe, they might have slightly different approach to how to do the different strikes. On the actual, what I call the sword grip, which is like a baseball bat, there is a term called tenouchi in Kendo. And I think a lot of people that knew Taika knew that he had studied Kendo when he went to the Naval Academy when he was conscripted into the Imperial Navy. And so he really worked a lot with me on strategy and techniques of Kendo when he came here to the dojo, along with transferring that into the Joe. So the Joe I had done for many years working with him on that and at the summer camps. In gripping a sword, or a Joe for that matter, when you're in this kind of grip, we have this V between your thumb and your index finger. That you want to have that on the top of the handle pointing down. So if you can see your fingertips, then you don't have the proper grip. Because when you're swinging a sword or a Joe, you don't have enough strength. Your thumbs are going to try to stop the swing, and that's not going to happen. You want to have the palm of your hand, the heel of your palm on the weapon, so that when you're doing this kind of swing, all right, it's the whole hand stopping the weapon, not just your fingers. So when Taika did his subori techniques, subori means striking the ear. Shibori means bringing out a towel. So you want to twist at the end. Okay, twisting at the end is important. I don't know. I don't have my glasses on, so if anyone puts up a chat message, I'm not going to be able to read it.
I'll let you know if there's anything important there, Jerry.
All right, good. Okay. So that being said, if you have a Joe, get it in your hand. If you have a Tombo, get that in your hand. I'm going to be doing different drills. Now, I'm going to be doing mirror image. So you guys can stand over there and face me. All right. I'm going to be doing a mirror image. So when I have my left hand on top, you guys will have your right hand on top. First thing you want to do is be able to twist it in so that your hand's in this position. If you open up your palm, it's facing down. It's not facing sideways. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our right foot slightly forward. We're going to bring our left hand up to our head. All right. I think Brittany and Billy are coming in. They're all coming in. All right. So we're going to come up, and we're going to step forward, and we're going to swing out, head high. Come back. Lift up, step out, head high, and back. Up and back. Okay, now come back, lift over your head. Step forward and out. Up, forward. Now back and forth. When you do that, I'm going to turn sideways. This arm should be just about shoulder height, and the tip of your jaw should be just about at your head height. Up, forward, forward. What you're really concentrating on is this twisting action at the end to make sure that you have the palm in the right spot. Here and here, up and back. Okay, switch hands and feet. Now you have your left hand on top. Lift up, forward, back, forward, back, forward. Go, broke, sheesh, touch, cue, shoot. And another important aspect of this is that your bottom hand, when you're coming up, should be just above your head. If you raise your weapon up and your hand is in front of you, you've actually just given it to your opponent to hit. The head is a hard target to hit. So you want to bring your hand up over your head and then extend it out. All right, now, footwork. I'm going to get on the center line so you can see. Called Tai Sabaki, body shift. If you guys are going to slide to your right, I'm going to do slide to my left. When you slide to your right, your other foot comes back behind you. Then the back foot slides across, and the other foot goes behind you. You end up in that triangle stance, back and forth. All right, so now what we're going to do is put your right hand on top again. Raise it over your head. Your left hand should be just over your head. I'm not going to move to my right just yet. I'm going to come down on an angle, as if I'm hitting the side of my head, but I'm not going to come around like that. I'm going to come from my center line and then just here. Actually, let's just go back and forth. What we're going to do is lift up, go forward, and come down on an angle. Bring it back, center. Now come down on the other angle. Back center. All right, so let's do 10 of these. Itch, knee, san, shi, go, roke, shish, hach, cue, ju. Okay, switch hands and feet. Bring it up. You always come down to the top hand side first. Okay, ready? Bring it up and step forward. Itch, knee, san, shi, go, roke, shish, hach, cue, two. Again, you have to concentrate on the twisting of the hands so that it's a little bit uncomfortable because your wrists have to turn all the way in. Turn all the way in like that. Okay, now back to your right hand on top. Now, come up center. Now slide to your right. Do the same angle cut. Itch. Back to the other side. Knee. San. Shi. Go. Roke. Shish. Touch. Cue. Do. Okay, back center. Switch hands. Lift up to the center. Slide to your left. Itch. Back to your right. Knee. San. Shi. Go. Roke. Shi. Touch. Cue. Do. Okay, switch hands. Now that was returned to the center of my head each time. Now, What I'm going to do is, as I slide to my right and I cut, I'm going to come back up and cover, then come up center and cut back the other side. Then come up, cover here, come back center and cut the other side. Cover, center, cut the other side. Cover, center, cut the other side. What you don't want to do is do stuff like that. That takes a little bit too long to come all the way around. So you want to cover and then bring it right up to your center. You want to cut from the center of your head down. That gives you a little bit more direct access to your target, straight line access. Open up the doors.
Hey, Jerry,
All right, so-
question for you, Jerry.
What?
Quick question.
Yeah.
Could you use a Subarito to do this exercise?
Yes.
as well?
Yes. Subaritos actually, these drills are. This is part of my kendo curriculum. So these drills are with Subarito, and if you use a Subarito or a bokken or a katana, then you can feel the actual angle of what you're doing. But with the Jo, you're getting the same action. But with the Subarito, you can feel that. Right? No, you don't have to open it.
Great, thanks.
All right. So definitely, if you have a Subarito, this is one of my heavier ones, and it's black on the bottom because I have a Taika Makiwara that we strike. Okay, so on a Subarito, when you're cutting, you want to have that angle on the cut. Now, if I cover, I come around, I still want to have that cut. Okay, so you want to have this cutting action. If you have a Subarito, go ahead and grab it for this. But then we're going to go into Jo strikes. So only for the next couple of drills, we can use a Subarito. From what we started up to this point, and one or two more drills, you can use a Subarito. But then after that, we're going to be doing Jo striking. All right. So we're going to come up, Kaisabagi T right and strike, cover, come up, center, step the other way and strike. Cover, center, strike. Cover, center, and strike. Cover, and then it's centered, strike, and that's going to be one motion. Hitch, knee, san, shi, go, roke, shish, hutch, cue, do. Okay, if you have a tombo, so tombo is just you concentrating on the grip. You do the same action, right, as if you have a 4-foot Jo. Okay, one or two last in that series. Keep your right hand on top. So this time, bring it up, step. You're going to cut all the way down, inch. All right, then bring it up and cut all the way down, knee. So cutting through, all the way up, san, up, shi, up, go, roke, shish, hutch, cue, do. Okay. In my class, I would do both sides, but right for now, that's good. One more. We're going to go straight again. So you're going to have your right foot forward and right hand on top. You're going to cut down one. Now you're going to turn your hand, cut up on that same angle, 2, switch feet, cut down 3, cut up on that same angle, 4, step, switch feet, and 5. Just straight. Come back again, lift up straight, slide forward. 1, come back up, cut 2, switch feet, 3, come back up, same angle, 4, switch feet, and 5. And come back center. Lift up, down. Now I have to turn my hand like this. Cut back up 2. Switch feet. Cut down 3. Same angle 4 and 5. Okay, with a sword, watch the angle of the blade with the sword. Same thing. Everybody follow me if you can. Ready? Go down. 1. Now I got to turn so that the cutting edge is cutting it back up. 2. Switch feet. Cut down 3. The other side, turn, cutting edge up. 4. And then 5. Okay, so that's how that. So that's how, let's just do a little bit more of those. 2 more of those. Lift up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, 1, 2 together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right? So, want to build up the speed, the fluidity, and that's good opening drills. Okay, now, in the Joe, I was always taught we have now 3 basic grips. One is the sword grip we were just doing. The other, I call this the Joe grip, which is unique to this weapon, where both hands are on top. And then the sword grip, if you go down to the other side, I call it the broom sweeping grip. Sweeping low. Okay, striking low. Okay, so we're going to go with the Joe grip. Now, I've seen some people do with the Joe grip coming up over their head and going. I was never taught that. I was taught bringing it up to my shoulder and my ear. Then the top hand isn't pushing and coming over. It's too big an arc. The front hand is pulling into the belly button. Pulling into the belly button. Switch, belly button. All right, so if you have a tombo, you can do the same thing. You just want to have a long slide. All right, so everyone, Joe grip like this. Let's bring it over to your right shoulder, which means your left hand is going to slide down, and then the right hand gets into position. One thing Taika always said was never have your hands sliding as you're striking it. Okay, try not to do that, because you're only using one of your hands to actually control the weapon. So you want to have, if you're pulling it either end, you want to get your hands in position. Okay, so we're going to bring it here. We're going to step forward and pull the front hand into your belly button as you strike. Ready? Hitch. Okay, now you're going to step back and pull back to your opposite shoulder and change ends. I always strike from the parallel position. I don't want to strike from here. I've just lost this much energy. So I don't want to strike from here and just come down. I want to come back from here. In the basics, in the basics. Ready, knee. Pull back. San. Shi. Pull it into your belly button. Go. Roku. Shishi. Hachi. Kyu. Ju. Okay, now we're going to pull it back to our hip. All right, pull it back to your hip, and then slide your hand up. Now, when you pull it back, this arm is still out in front of me. So as I pull back, I push back at the same time. That enables me to switch my hands quick to the other end. Okay, so now we're here at your right hip. Now we're going to do a Tai Sabaki footwork and snap it up sideways. Pull it back to your left hip. Again, when you pull it back, push back at the same time so your hands are, I like to keep them about 2.5 fists apart. Tai Sabaki, the other side, hit. As if you're hitting upside the head. pull back. Hitch, pull back. Knee, san, shi, go, roke, shish, hutch, Q, Ju, 10 more. Itch, knee, san, shi, go, roke, shish, hutch, Q, Ju. All right. With a partner, you can do that drill. With one person striking at you, and you move Taisabaki, itch, knee, spin it over your head. San, spin it over your head. Shi. Okay, so in slow motion, itch, pull back, then you hit the other side. Knee, I stay centered, even though I'm putting pressure on the jaw. San, center, and shi. So that's a drill that we do. I'm working on something, and my partner is working on something. When Renshi Rich feels the pressure, he doesn't fight it, he goes with it. The first strike is just a check. There's really no pressure. The second strike is more pressure, so he's going to go through that pressure, spin his. So he's learning how to spin it quickly, like in our Joe, Kihon, Intermediate. And then I cover our back on this side. On this pressure, he spins it, then we come back on this side. Okay, then I spin his weapon. So on this drill, I'm learning to move sideways quickly and use both ends of it. My partner's learning how to feel the pressure of the attack and go out away from it. So again, it's 4 moves. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then finish up like that. All right, so you can practice that. There's more to those drills, but that's one of our basic drills. Okay, now, this is another drill that I'm going to do with you, which is a very good one-person drill that can be combined into a 2-person drill. I call this the walking stick and or the poke and paddle. You'll see why I poke and paddle. But if we're walking around with a cane or even a walking stick, we're not going to come up like our katas and go into a ready position. We want to attack right from here or defend. So on this first one, I'm going to do a mirror image. So everyone has their right hand on top. On this first one, I want you to envision somebody coming at you, just coming straight at you, all right? Just as a visualization. We're going to slide back with our right foot to give us a little bit more room, and we're going to poke towards the groin or the belly. We're going to keep it low, okay? And relax. The important thing in using a weapon is that you don't want your opponent to grab it once you've tried to hit them with it or block. All right, so we have to be able to pull back quickly and use different grips of the Joe grip, sweeping broom grip, or the sword grip. So the first poke is step back and poke. The second move is paddle, as if you're paddling a boat, okay? Your hand is in this grip, which we call the broom sweeping grip. As I paddle, I'm going to lift it up and change the front hand, which you guys is your right hand, come up to this Joe position, and then slide a little bit forward and strike, Joe strike. Now, I don't want them to try to grab this either, so I'm going to pull back, step back, and change my back hand, push this back, and now I'm going to do another strike to the groin, and pull back to my side of my head, side of my shoulder. Okay, now, like in the Joe Kihon kata, I'm going to strike straight out. And I'm going to step back and pull down to the other hip. This is a broom sweep. This is like what I call the Y pattern in Joe Kihon. We sweep low, we open up this hand, we hit up side high. Now in the Joe Kata, we turn to another direction for the last strike, but I'm just going to pull back, bring it to my your right ear. The left hand is going to pull into your belly button and strike. Open up your left hand and drop the front end down and step up. Now I have my left hand on top, so now I do the drill on the left side. Slide back with your left foot. Poke to the groin, the belly button, nothing higher. You don't want your opponent, they're coming at you and you poke, they're now like this, trying to grab. Now their head's open. So you poke and paddle back, open up the hand, bring it up, smack them upside the head, up top the head. You don't want them to grab that if that was just an individual technique. So I'm going to pull back. As I'm pulling back, this hand is going underneath. And then I push back with this hand to get my hands in a good position. Now I'm going to swing it as if I'm going to swing it to their groin to move it back out of the way. I pull it back and I step it side of the head. 1, pull back to a broom sweeping grip. 2, open up, 2.5, and 3. So in the Joe Kihon, when we go 1, 2, 3, and then we move into this Y, I call the Y pattern. This is low, and then over here, 2, 2.5, and then we move here, 3. All right. But this drill, you can stay facing your students or a mirror or your opponent the whole time. You don't have to change direction like in the top. All right. So let's try this again. Okay. Right hand starts on top. You're going to grab this way, so it's a broom sweeping grip. Right foot slides back, poke, paddle, lift up, and strike. Pull back, changing your right hand as you step back. Groin swing, pull back to your arm. Slide forward, hit side of the head, step back, pull back. Broom sweep to the leg, open his hand, hit upside the head. Pull back shoulder height to your Joe grip. Strike. Open up, and step up. Okay, now we have our left hand. We're going to step back with the left foot. Poke, paddle, lift it up, strike. Pull back, change your left hand. All the way back like that. Swing groin, step, strike. 1, pull back, broom sweeping grip. 2, open up the hand, 2.5, pull back to your shoulder, and 3. And step up. Okay, I'll go a little bit slower. You gain a lot of speed once you have the drill memorized and you understand each component. Then each movement becomes quicker, all right, so that you can manipulate the weapon and hit and attack and cover, defense, offense, Taika's always saying. You go from defense flow into offense, back into defense, into offense. All right, but we'll go slow, right? So slide back, poke, and then paddle right away. Lift up your hand and strike. Pull back, change that back hand right away. Front hand pushes back as you step back. Swing it to the groin and pull it back to your shoulder. Step out, hit sideways. 1, pull back, step the other leg. 2, open his hand and roll around. 3, pull back, step back, and 4. Okay, I'm sorry, then drop it down and step up left hand. When we do the low strike in the Joe Kihon kata, with this grip here, I always tell the students to visualize that you're hitting someone in the knee and possibly collapsing the knee a little bit. Then the next move in the kata is to come up sideways. So if you collapse the knee and they're bending this way, it doesn't take much to rotate this Joe around and hit him up the side of the head. Okay, so that's a basic idea, visualization for that move in the Joe Kihon. 1, 2. Okay, all right. You guys have, let's go back with the right hand on top again. Slide back. Poke the groin or the belly, nothing higher. Paddle it back, change this hand to a Joe strike by pulling in the front hand into the belly button. Then step back and pull back, changing the back hand. Swing it to the person's groin. Step out, hit the side of the head, pull back, and then step the other side, broom sweep to the knee, open up this hand, hit side of the head again, pull back to your shoulder, and then Joe strike. Open up your left hand, step up. Okay, step back with your left foot. Poke and paddle, change your hand, lift up, and strike. Left hand, your back hand will change as you pull back. step back. Groin swing up to your arm, step out, strike 1, pull back, strike 2, 2.5, I call that, and then back here, and 3. All right? We'll do that a few more times, and then I'll do this next section of this drill. Okay? All right. So you're here, step back, poke, paddle, change your hand and strike. Pull back, change your back hand, swing it up, and strike, and pull back. Strike 1 and 2, pull back, and 3. And then step up. So have nice, smooth motion here. Every time it goes out, it comes back in quickly. Poke and paddle, strike and pull back, groin swing, pull back, head strike, pull back, knee strike, head strike, pull back, and finish with a head strike and step up. Okay? All right, so we'll do it righty and lefty again, and then I'll do the next section. Okay, step. Poke, paddle, strike. Pull back, change that hand, pushing back at the same time, going right into that groin swing. Step out, strike, pull it back, push it back at the same time. Step forward, strike, open the hand, side strike, pull back, and strike. Open up, step up. Okay, step back left. Poke and paddle, change your left hand, pull it right into your belly button, strike. Pull back, change that left hand again. The right hand is pushing it back. Do a groin swing, bring it up to your shoulder, strike out sideways, pull it back, knee strike, open the hand, head strike, pull back to your shoulder, and strike. Okay, now the next section is like the opening of the Joe Kihon when I do the action timing level. I want to pull back, change this backhand again, swing it up here again like this. But now you're going to step, instead of striking and stopping, you're going to strike, come over your head and do a poke. Then come back, this cover that we were doing before, come down, and then strike. Now, we're going to change both hands. Pull back, change the front hand, step back, change the other hand, do the groin swing. Now, this is what you don't do in the Joe katas, do this on the left side. So in my drills, you do right and left. So now you're going to step out, hit, come over your head, do that cover poke. Come back, strike down, come back up, and strike. Okay, then just drop the front end down. Okay, so that's 2 sections of the drill. There's another couple of sections. So let's see if we can get all of that. Okay, step back right, poke, paddle, Joe grip, Joe strike, I call that. Pull back, push back, changing your right hand into the sword grip, strike out 1, pull it back. 2, open the hand, 2.5, pull it back, and 3. Step up, left hand on top. Step back left, poke, pull back paddle, strike, pull back, step back. Change your left hand as you come up, groin swing. Strike 1, pull back into a broom sweep the knee, open the hand, hit side of the head, pull back, and strike. So now you're going to pull back, step back, change your back hand, the right hand, and come up to this position. Now we're going to do the opening of the Joe Kihon action level. Strike, continue up over the head and go poke. Bring it back. Strike back, up over the head and strike. Now both hands are going to change. Front hand, back hand, step back. Swing it up here. Now the other side. Strike, bring it over your head, poke, bring it back, cover, and strike, and step up. Okay, we'll do it a few more times, and if you have any questions, I'll happy to answer the questions. Okay, all right, so ready? Slide back, poke and paddle, and strike. Pull back, change your back hand, swing it up, strike 1, pull back, 2, 2.5, pull back, and 3. Step up. Okay, step back left. Poke, paddle, strike. Pull back, change your left hand as you step back. Do a groin swing, keep your opponent away from you. Hit upside the head, pull back, 2, open up, 2.5, 3. Okay, so that's both sides, righty and lefty. Now we're going to do the Joe Kihon opening. Pull back, change that right hand, do that groin swing again. Strike, keep going over the head, bring it back, snap it down, and strike. Changing both hands, swing it back, step back the other side, strike over the head, come back, strike, and one more time, strike. Okay. All right. Any questions so far? If not, I'll just keep doing that, and I can add another section to that. But if there's no questions, I'll just keep doing that. Everybody's.
I haven't seen any questions come through, Jerry.
All right, good.
I have a question, Jerry.
Maybe everybody's taking a lunch break and no one's doing it, so that'll be great.
No, I'm watching them do it.
Who has a question?
Adam.
I have a question. Yes. So I want to ask you about something to do with the very first drill and this drill in terms of that rear hand position. Because when you were talking about the boken and the early drills, you're talking about that pressure of placing that palm on the top of the weapon, pressing down. And I'm just wondering if when you're doing the Joe, as you're pulling to the belly button, is it that same palm down position, or are you rolling in more as you pull to the belly button?
No, it's still twisting in. I still have that. Yeah, it's just the heel of my palm. The heel of my palm is going to be on the top.
Right.
So I'm not going to be like that. I'm going to be like that. Okay?
Yeah. I'm just thinking
that enables you to really have all of this as the break instead of just this. If your hand is like this, and you're trying to stop this, it's only your thumb trying to stop it. Your thumb isn't going to be strong enough. In Kendo, if people have a weak grip like that, we knock the shinai right out of their hands. So the same thing in weapons fighting. If I can knock the Joe out of a person's hand, it's probably because their grip wasn't correct, and they were just trying to stop pressure with their thumbs. Okay, so you want to have your whole hand being able to stop the movement of the weapon. Okay, that will enable you to have more control over it and won't be knocked out of your hand as easily. And if you're hitting things, if you have a target to hit, you're not going to feel that energy bouncing back into your thumb area, which can sprain your thumb. That whole bottom of your hand is absorbing that energy. But we don't really hit and stay on our target. We hit and there's a little recoil. There's a little recoil, okay, when we're hitting.
I guess the reason
we're going against the opponent with the Joe, I want to hit and roll down into their. So when I hit their weapon, I want to roll down right into their hand, try to take that hand off right away. Okay, but my hand position is always like that. Not like that.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
That gives me some really good.
It feels somewhat counterintuitive since so much of our empty hand pulling motion is palm up. And this is essentially a palm. You're talking about pulling to the belly button, but you're talking about pulling palm down.
Yeah, I don't know if it's pulling, I guess pulling into your belly button. But all I'm doing is making the arc as tight as I can. Yeah, I'm pulling in. All right, but the energy is going out here. It's like a whip. All right. So in a whip, you have to snap the whip back in order to get that crack of the whip. In this, if I use this top hand, it's going to push.
Yeah,
and that's just, it's too big an arc for me, and I'm pushing down as opposed to pulling in and allowing it to snap out. That's how I do it.
Jerry, just a question on that. It looks like, it's hard to see, but it looks like your right hand does a little bit of a J at the end to stop the motion. You know what I mean? The right hand goes from your right hip towards your center a little bit as it finishes. which changes the energy to allow you to stop it on a dime rather than having to try and stop it with muscles.
Yeah, yeah. But again, depending on, what my target is, I know what I have to do. So if I'm trying to hit, but if someone is attacking me with the weapon and I'm not going for their head right away, right? And I'm going for their hand, I'm going to roll. Okay, it's going to roll like that. So you're going to definitely have that kind of action. And that's what happens. Then, if that happens, and I hit his hand and it comes off, then I'm going to come in. Grappling technique. Covering the distance is important in weapons. If you can get in on a person, in Kendo it's called Oyata, which means a body check. So after we hit, we can come in and actually clash and come together like that. That's safer in Kendo because then you can't cut. But for us, getting in there enables us to do the grappling. All right. So all of the drills that I do always end up with the grappling techniques. So the drill I'm doing right now is just entering and manipulating the weapon. But then after the end of my drill, we go into our strikes and our counters. Okay. So what's the other question that,
That was it. That was it. Yeah. Jerry, you got about a minute, then we're into the Q&A session.
All right. So as far as the grappling goes, just a quick little on grappling. If I miss the hand, I continue in here to get him a little bit loosened up. Then you guys know all about that, right? Now, from this position here, I got him down, but also my jaw is stuck. That's why you have to be able to, these drills designed so that you can pull back. It's not just pulling back so they don't grab it, it's pulling back so that if you're doing some sort of grappling, I can pull out. Boom. All right? And then finish him this way. Okay, so if he does let go, if I did get his fingers and he lets go, I'm still going to go here. Now I want to get in, okay, and then do another kind of grappling. This works really good if you roll your jaw, just roll it in a little bit like that on the back of the arm, right above the elbow. Those are one of the pressure points Peter was talking about. Great. You just roll that in, and the wood obviously multiplies the pressure 10 to 20 fold. So it doesn't take a lot just to do a little bit of motion like that, drop a person. Okay. All right, let me go over the drill a couple more times, then we can do a few more Q&A. Again, I call it the walking stick drill, okay, with the poke and paddle. So your right hand starts at the top, slide back right, poke and paddle so they don't grab it, but you're already going into your attack again, hitting, pull back, change your back hand, and the front hand pushes it back. You're sweeping towards their groin to move them back a little bit. Then as you pull back, you attack sideways, pull back again, go to the knee, up and hit, pull back to my jaw position and snap it in and step up. So this is done as a mirror image. It's good to do, right? With all the students on the other side of the dojo, they can follow along really easy. Okay, and then we step back, poke, paddle, lift up, strike. It helps you learning how to manipulate the jo in the 3 different main grips that we use in the jo kihon kata. Hit, this is the sword grip. Then I pull back to the end. I call that the broom sweeping grip, right? Then right back up into the jo grip. And I call this the jo strike, which is unique to this weapon. Okay, now from here, the second part, pull back, change your backhand again, do that groin sweep again, slide out, hit, but keep that rolling and going. I call that a poke, and then come back over this side, strike, pull back, change both hands, step back, swing it down, hit to the other side, bring it around, hope, bring it back, cover, and hit. And then you're back where you started. All right, so we have some more, another part of that, where I do some figure eights, then some hand changes. But we'll have to say that for another time, all right? So,
That's just,
any other questions? People might be getting hungry. They might want to take a
this would be their
lunch
lunch
break.
break, yeah.
I have a quick question.
Sure, Lucien.
Lucian.
Hi.
Hi.
I
So
can't see you.
I'm trying to find him. There's
He's in there somewhere, Glenn.
48 people. I got to scroll through and find this one. There he is.
There you are.
so
There you
Hanshi Linguist has talked a lot about when we're working with the weapons, keeping our hand changes and our handwork like hidden in the motion. How does that apply to the Joe, or can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, yeah. So the only time you're going to see the one hand change is from here, but even here you don't really notice it. It's kind of a quick motion to the other side, and then when I pull back, I'm changing my hand back here, so you don't see that hand change. Okay. So here, pull back, and my hand's already changed. All right. So now the hand changes are designed so that you can move into a different kind of strike without your opponent seeing it. So from the Joe strike, pulling back, changing your backhand as it goes back. So now my hand's changed. Okay, this swing here can be an uppercut to the head or the groin, but it leads into your position so that you can do this kind of action. Okay, then I want to pull back again. Now I can either leave it in a Joe strike position, or I can change both hands and get back into my sword grip position. Okay, the next section is all about that changing of the hand. I do a figure eight, and then I slide hand change, and I snap it out. Okay, so that was the next part of the drill. Sort of, almost like doing in chuckle figure eights, right? And in the bow, we have the figure eights in the bow also. So these kind of actions are important to get your opponent to become confused as to what end of the weapon is coming at them. With the bow, when you're doing a figure eight, you can literally hit them with either end as you're doing that and back them up into his technique. The Joe, you can do the same thing, but you only got the front end. But in the middle of that, I can do my hand changes. Okay, so learning to manipulate the weapon is one of the keys to becoming proficient with using the weapon, and then doing those hand changes in the middle. So when I'm doing this, I got my left hand on top, which would be your right hand. I'm doing this figure eight. Then all of a sudden, I'm over my head. Both my hands have changed in the middle of that motion. So now I'm on the other side, all right, which then can lead into different kinds of techniques. Okay? So I hope that answers your question, Lucien. So when I do my hand changes, I can do it either in the back, I can do them in the middle of the movement. Okay, in the middle of the movement, my hands are changing. That way I can get my three different grips working seamlessly from one to the other to the other.
Thank you.
Okay.
I got one question.
I have a question. I'm sorry. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, Jerry, why is no when you hit him with the Joe, you don't see we're using this grip?
Alfredo, move over to your right a little bit. I can't see you.
Okay, I just can see me a little, so I don't know. Hold on.
Say that again.
You're good. Right there.
Can you see me?
Yep.
I can't see. So why there's the grip is only like this, correct? A lot.
Yes.
Why is not in the katas or in the kihon a grip like this? So you hit this way with your palm down rather than your palm up. See, sorry, with your palm down, just like if you were hitting with a suburi, let's say, like the exercise you did.
You do both.
why is not showing in the kata or in the kihon? This
In the
sort of,
kata, you have both grips and both strikes, Alfredo. In Joe Kihon, 1, 2, and now you have this sword strike here. This is a sword
okay,
grip.
okay.
Right? So you do have both grips in the kata.
Yes.
Right? So when I do Joe Kihon and I go 1, 2, and 3, and then I move low, now I pull it back, now I have this what we
Now
call
you change the other grip. Yes. Okay.
and then you move back into the Joe grip. So, you know, from doing the kata so many years, you start, like Greg had saying, you do the kata 10,000 times, you start picking these movements out and putting them together in drills that might be applied directly to self-defense. And that's how I developed this kind of drill, as if I'm walking in the street with my cane or a walking stick and someone's coming at me, how to keep them off of me and then hit them. All right?
Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Was there another question somebody had?
I have one.
I who?
Hi, John. Sorry. I don't know if you can find me or not. Hey, Mr. Senese, how you doing?
Oh,
Um,
there you go.
I don't know if you can see. Hi. So sorry, I had to step out for a second. I didn't get the whole drill, but when you're doing that, I mean, it's really good hand manipulation. Would you suggest once we get the
Can you move over to your right a little bit?
Sorry, I'm trying to, because
All right.
Not hit a light.
I got a light right here.
All right, Glenn, how do I get rid of all the people on the side?
Just go to your upper right. You'll see a view, and on
Yeah.
view you can do speaker view.
I have it on speaker view.
Oh,
I still have I have about 4 or 5 people on my.
you have to hit full screen, and they'll become a window. So don't do that because it'll mess you up the rest of the time.
I know. They're all in little windows, but they're on the right side of my screen. And
There should be a little minus button that you can click. That'll just
oh
that'll close them
yeah.
all.
There you go. Thank you.
No problem.
Who's that?
That was Joseph.
It's John.
That was me, Kyoshi.
Jonathan said that?
No, Joseph,
Oh,
your
no,
student.
sorry. I didn't-
Oh, okay. Whoever said it, thank you. Now I got it. All right, Jonathan, now I can see you. Go ahead. Now you forgot your
Sorry.
question, right?
No. My question was just, once we get those hand motions down, would you suggest then putting in some, not just the forward and back types of Akti, but then also what you were talking about before,
Yes.
going back and forth?
Yes. For the purpose of today, I kept it just straight back and forward so that everyone can follow me. Once you've got these drills down, now you start adding your angles. Okay?
That's all I had. Thank you.
Yeah, so if you have the drill down, then start adding angles to it. And then you can develop it almost like the Joe Kihon. What I found interesting was that Joe Kihon, Taika taught it in a 4-foot square. The other Joe katas, you didn't really teach it that way, but Sakagawa Joe, if you do it in a 4-foot square, I find that I am pretty much inside that 4-foot square for almost the whole part of Sakagawa Joe. Now, Tsukumino Joe and the Jisen Joe, you're going a little bit further out and sideways. But Sakagawa is pretty well contained also. So, Taika has said that these were used inside the castles because of the space constraints. This would work better than the 6-foot bow. Now, the samurai carried 2 swords. When they went inside a house, they would take the long sword out, and they still have the short sword because of the constraints. So a smaller weapon for the guards, I guess, in the castles would be using the jo. Also, again, as a walking stick, anybody can then develop their self-defense skills with a weapon of this size. Okay. All right. Anyone else? I hope you guys enjoyed the drill. If the recording, you can always go back to this recording that Glenn's going to have and review it for yourselves. If you have any questions, you can email me. I do the Zoom classes with Greg on every other Saturday, just about. So I'm available through there. I might have my own Zoom sessions available soon. I do have the Joe Kihon Kata on my YouTube channel so that you can see some of my action timing footwork and manipulation of the weapon from the basic all the way up to I think I do 3 levels on the video. I started the Joe at the summer camp with Bob Harris. If anyone has the video of Taika in his basement dojo with Greg and Bob Harris and a few other of the old students, they made this weapons video. Bob Harris did the Joe. So I would practice with him along with Harold Walker, who was Jim Lowe's student. He was built like Herschel Walker, very powerful. I actually did my Godan black belt test with him. That's another story. Peter Ryan, who's up in Alaska now, he was in Indiana or Iowa. All right, so that was the first group of people doing the Joe. Sakagawa Joe is a interesting story. George Dillman, whenever Taika had gone to George Dillman, he had asked me and Jim Lowe to be there if we could. So I went to George Dillman's house a number of times when George was training with Taika. I don't know, 2 or 3 times I went out to his house. Guy had a cougar down his live animal cougar in a cage down his basement. So he was always a little bit out there. But he had a tournament on his stay with Taika's seminar. So Jim and I sitting there watching the tournament said, well, we're not going to sit here this whole thing. Jim, why don't you teach me something? So we went underneath the bleachers and he taught me Sakagawa Joe. So that was a nice little memory for me with Jim and the Joe. Okay, then to tie that all in with Taika, if you know the Tall Oaks camp, you know it was spread out. And so I'm practicing my Sakagawa Joe, and I'm here, and I'm here, and I'm here, and all of a sudden I hear from the heavens, Jenny! I look around, and I said, you could tell Taika's voice, and it's like, where the hell is he? And he was all the way over on the other side of the camp, pretty much, with another group, and was walking away from that group, and he saw me, and he yelled, Jenny! And I stopped, and he goes, don't lean! So when I was doing this technique here, I'm leaning over. So I always try to keep myself with my back straight, especially when I'm doing that kata. Sakagawa Joe, has a kind of a special place in my heart, as all of the katas are. There's treasures that Taika handed down to us. The timing, everybody that's trained with Taika for 20 or 30 years develops their own body action. Like I said, that's what's going to happen. You can develop your own body action. As long as we have the basic foundation katas in place that are 95, 99% the same, then I feel that the art will move on from generation to generation. You can't forget the basic foundations. That's our strength foundation. All right, so I think I'm done for today, Glenn.
You got it.
All right.
Great.
So everybody enjoy the rest of the seminar, right? And go have some lunch, unless we have to go start right
And you've
away.
already talked through the lunch period.
Thank you, Jerry.
I'm
Thanks,
sorry.
No problem.